Hey everyone, Kyle Mike here from MLive.com, joined by Justin Rogers, back in Allen Park for day 2 of rookie minicamp. Justin, we didn't get to see too much of practice, about 20 minutes, mostly individual drills. Thank you, Lions. But we did talk to 5 of the draft picks. Gabe Wright was there, Michael Burton, Alex Carter, Quandre Diggs, and
Corey Robinson.
There you go. What were your impressions of who you got to talk to?
I talked to the 2 corners today. I got stuck at Alex Carter because he's such an engaging individual.
I thought you were going to say because he's such a great press corner.
Yes, he jammed me at the line. Well, we've lost it. He's coming in as a good schematic fit, and that's kind of where the line of questioning starts. How's the camp going? The basic formalities, and then we kind of delved into a really personal topic with him, and the fact that he lost his sister 3 years ago to diabetes. She was 14. She died suddenly. And obviously that's a really important, cause for him, and something, he's got another sister that's still, suffering with the condition. He's just such an impressive individual. I mean, obviously Stanford psychology degree, extremely
well-spoken,
mature for his age. I tweet out, I feel like whatever he would do in life if he never played it down in football again, the guy would be successful. It just seems like a guy I'm really going to look forward to covering.
I talked to your other boy, Quandre Diggs, for 5 seconds. He looks like he's about 36 years old.
He's got just Greg Oden disease going on.
I spent most of my time with Gabe Wright, the defensive tackle, and I was struck by, obviously he's not just replacing Ndamukong Suh. He is wearing the number 90 of Ndamukong Suh, and I was curious to ask him about that because he's already going to be compared inevitably to Suh, which is unfair because Suh is a top 5 pick, great player here, all pro, all that stuff. This guy's a 4th rounder out of Auburn. It's apples and oranges, but I was curious, what the calculus was for taking on the 90 and how he's dealing with the inevitable comparisons. And I've heard him asked so many times about Suh, and I waited for somebody else to ask him about it. And I'm like, do you ever get tired of the comparison? Do you get fatigued from that? And he's like, absolutely not. And he was asked by a different reporter, if it was difficult for him to follow in those footsteps. He says, absolutely not. I'm Gabe Wright. I'm just trying to be the best Gabe Wright I can be. This game, at the end of the day, is about talent. It's about producing on the field, and we have no idea whether he's going to do that or not. But I'm impressed by him and his ability to distance himself from Suh and to kind of make himself his own guy. I watched in practice today. I focused on Gabe Wright more than anyone else, just to see how coaches were working and stuff. And Chris Kasurik, the defensive line coach, focused a lot on bend and pad level and just get this guy to move because he's a big body, 300 pounds.
Probably some curse words and yelling in there too.
Notice I didn't. There's no quotes. I can't quote Chris Kasurik because the dude is a very colorful language. But I thought just what I'm trying to say is I think Gabe Wright mentally is in a good space when it comes to replacing Ndamukong Suh and even Nick Fairley. A guy he knows from Auburn too. But there's obviously a big void there. And, I like where he's at. He seems very mature for a rookie.
It's kind of a theme. We talk all about the character and the intelligence, but it's a very, very mature group. Amir Abdullah is very well grounded. Laken Tomlinson. The intelligence goes with the maturity with these guys. I did talk a little bit more with Diggs than you did, what's struck me about him from the moment we talked to him on the conference call minutes out of the draft is he's just got an edge to him. It's he's a small player, and I imagine that kind of plays into it, but he just has this intensity, like he's always trying to prove doubters wrong. And I asked him about it, and first thing he mentioned was his brother. He's got a brother that was a very good NFL player, and they're extremely competitive. He said they're competitive in everything they do, from the video games they play and everything. I go, well, are you better than Quentin in anything? And he goes, oh, I got better hands. And so, it's amazing. This kid's not proven nothing. He's a 6th-round draft pick. He's going to be fighting for a roster spot. Yet, he's got the confidence to talk trash against a guy that, obviously it's brother, but a guy that's an established star at the NFL level.
Yeah, when we talked to him during the draft, Diggs, he had said, don't don't believe the measurables, don't believe the hype, because he's a small guy, sank into the 6th round. Because, I mean, he's a 4-year starter at Texas, which is pretty impressive, but he's also pretty small, doesn't have great speed by NFL comparisons. So there's a lot going against him. He's a very confident guy. And, our friend Anwar Richardson had said that he plays bigger than what he is, and we'll be curious to see how he fares. One guy not here, Justin, for rookie minicamp is La'el Collins. Lions forewent that just like every other team but the Cowboys. Everyone in the draft passed on him. Cowboys eventually took the chance, gave him a contract. Lions obviously need offensive line help, and they didn't go after him. I just wanted to ask you, what is your takeaway from, or your impression of the Lions and their obvious disinterest in La'el Collins?
No, I think they should have been interested. I don't know if they were disinterested. I just don't think they've made the push that maybe the Cowboys or Rex Ryan and
but
the
do you
Bills.
think they should have?
Absolutely, yeah. Once the facts came out, his character was considered very good coming out of the draft. Ignore the thing that came out 2 or 3 years ago about him not being a great workout. He put those to rest. It wasn't his child. He wasn't there. There was just no reason to tie him to this case other than, he knew her and it was just bad timing, bad circumstances. First-round talent, undrafted price, how do you not go after that? I think at some level all 32 teams were probably interested once the name was cleared, but, the Cowboys have a lot to offer in terms of offensive line success, and end of the day, I mean, Dallas is still one of the most marketable teams out there.
I've heard a lot of talk about how the Lions should have taken him in the 6th or the 7th round or whatever, and I understand the rationale there.
Yeah.
But the counterpoint to that for me would be, well, there are 31 other teams that also passed on him. So at that time, I was thinking maybe there's something we don't know that these NFL teams do know. But once he became cleared and that he was obviously not a suspect, they should have made a push and maybe done so publicly more so. I'm not sure. They just didn't seem very interested, and they obviously could use a guy like that, extremely talented. They would have the obvious benefit of being able to sell a starting job to him or a possible starting job right away, whereas Dallas, I think, is a little more stacked. I'm not even sure how he fits into what their starting lineup would be, but that's something they could have sold to him. I just thought that the Lions, they focused so much on the choir boy type personalities, and there's nothing wrong with that, and I see what they're doing, and there are a ton of advantages to what they're doing, but at the end of the day, you need talent. You need football players. Lions could use some talent up front. He's a talented guy, first round pick. They could have used him here.
And I addressed the late round question. I got a lot of that too in a mailbag this week, and they I think it's twofold why you don't risk that pick in the 6th or 7th round. At the time, the case was still open. There was a lot of unknown facts, and NFL teams with domestic violence, they don't want their name attached to a player that could have been, even if it was a 5% chance. They didn't want to risk having some kind of domestic violence murder issue associated with their team. And then 2, his agent was playing the whole we'll go. We won't sign if he's drafted at this point. And had he been drafted and didn't sign, he could have actually then entered the 2016 draft and made a play for a high draft position. At that point, you're calling an agent's bluff, but Lions went out and they got 2 guys that they think might be able to make the roster, contribute in Quandre Diggs and Corey Robinson. So are those guys as good as La'el Collins? No, but at least you got a bird in the hand instead of one in the bush.
Yeah, that's what we got. I didn't know you were going there. We'll be right back here. Day 3 is on Sunday, 11 a.m. We'll be back here for practice to wrap things up from Allen Park. For Dustin Rogers, I'm Kyle Meinke. We are MLive. Keep it right here.